With aortic regurg, it's building of each one of these valvular heart diseases. Now, as we go through each individual one, everything comes to light, right? As it has been, hopefully. Once we're done discussing all valvular heart diseases, it is important that you keep going back and reviewing each one because it's easy otherwise to mix them up. And you know exactly what I'm referring to. So with aortic regurg, the problem is blood is coming back from the aorta. What I'd like for you to do is think about the anatomy of the arch of aorta and it's coming back towards the left ventricle. And when it does so, where is the best place that you might perhaps hear this murmur again? It was located in the third intercostal space, and it would be the left parasternal. At least know that you're moving towards the apex. If by chance you don't find the third intercostal space, left parasternal, as being an answer choice, you don't find that as being an option on a picture on your screen of a chest, then you move towards the apex. I hope that's clear. That's the only way that you would even get any of these questions right without causing further confusion. Okay, now, once you're going to start bringing about regurg, completely different when compared to aortic stenosis. In what respect? In the respect of how the left ventricle is going to respond, technically. Why am I saying that? Because the response overall, granted, whenever that the left ventricle is undergoing undue pressure, either from volume or from pressure itself, then the left ventricle is going to undergo hypertrophy. Is that clear? So whenever the left ventricle is facing adversity, it is going to try to adapt and rise to the occasion. And with aortic stenosis, did it undergo hypertrophy? Of course it did. What did it do? It underwent concentric hypertrophy in which a sarcomere is duplicating in parallel, in which eventually may result in diastolic dysfunction. But my goodness, you do not want to get your patient to the point where such heart failure is taking place. Remember the rule of 5, 3, and 2 with aortic stenosis. So here with aortic regurg, it's the fact the left ventricle is facing pathology or adversity with volume. So does that mean it'll undergo hypertrophy? Of course it will. But this type of hypertrophy is one in which it is not going to, the sarcomeres are not going to duplicate in a parallel. They're going to duplicate in a series. And you call this eccentric type of hypertrophy. Now what's interesting about this is, can you use the same concept towards congestive heart failure? Of course you can. In congestive heart failure, there's going to be volume overload there as well, but that has nothing to do with aortic regurg per se. But that volume overload may result in hypertrophy, an eccentric type, and what's the state of your heart? Cardiomegaly, lateral displacement of your PMI, point of maximum impulse. Now, with all that said, let's take a look at acute and chronic changes. In acute changes, all this blood is coming back into the left ventricle. And my goodness, the pressure is going to start increasing like crazy early on. And then, at some point chronically, take a look at the size of the left ventricle. It's enlarged. Is it hypertrophy? Yes, it is. Compare. It's thickened, but it's not concentric. This is eccentric. Now, how is your patient going to present? Aha. So now, we have all this blood come back in the left ventricle. But this time, do you have any problem with opening up that aortic valve? Here's my aortic valve. No problem. Whoop. It just wants to open as freely as that. And so with that free opening of that aortic valve, or no resistance at all, basically, you have increased amounts of blood that is now being pushed out during systole towards the systemic circulation. Tell me about some of that systemic circulation. Well, up into the head. So you might find bounding pulse in the carotid, bobbing of the head, muscle sign. Might go to the radial. Your bounding pulses there. You've heard of water hammer pulses. So we'll have a bunch of those pulses that we'll take a look at clinically at the end. Understand the concept first. And there's a couple of things that we need to walk you through for pathophys. And you've gotten every single concept right. Let's take a look.